Love you too. Woohoo! All right, it worked. Thank goodness. Can everyone hear me all right? Someone hit me up in the chat and let me know that you can hear me okay. See you. Mike, okay, refresh and good? And you can hear me all right? Oh, good. All right. Well, I'm going to get O'Loren back out because I put him back in. But also, we have Zenith here. He's just going to chill. He's always sleepy in the daytime. O'Loren, sorry. Come here, beauty. Oh, now you went through all the branches, of course. Well, we'll see if he'll come out later. I wanted to show you because he just shed this morning, and it was beautiful. And I left it as is because it was so hilarious. They're always so goofy. So we'll just hang out with Zenith for now because Lauren decided that he wasn't into it. But Zenith, he's so cute. When he comes out during the daytime, like he's the sleepiest snake. I don't know. Like during the day, he just chills. But nighttime, he's very curious, but he's just hiding his little face in there. So he'll just hang out with us, and we'll see if I can get to Lauren in a minute. It's like a Muppet. Exactly, right? That's why I left it. Well, I am so excited that everyone is here. Like, it means so much to me that anyone showed up. I just feel so grateful for all of you and for the opportunity to get to interact with you. Whether it's on YouTube or on Discord, it's just been absolutely inspiring. I am just blown away because I really did think that this was just going to be some silly thing that I did for a minute and it wouldn't go anywhere. And, I would probably get laughed off the internet and whatever. And instead, it has become so much more than I ever imagined it could be, between, the interactions online to the development of the, reptiles and neurodiversity stuff. It's just been mind blowing, and so much bigger than me, so much bigger. You're awesome too. Thank you. And I feel very emotional just seeing any of you here. And I just wanted to say thank you for being here and being part of this, because it's not about me. It's about how amazing these animals are, how beautiful the connection that we can have with them can be, and the healing that we can get from working with them. And I have heard the most inspiring stories. I mean, from reptiles that alert when their keeper is having a seizure, to, the Scarlett and Dave. Scarlett, they just got their new snake a week or two ago, and Dave has said that it has been the best week Scarlett has ever had. Just think about that for a minute. I'm just blown away. It's so beautiful. So thank you all for being here. Thanks, Dee. I appreciate it. Yeah, I decided to go lower so we could kind of see a little bit of Anu's. Oh, Anu's out. Move the mic for a second. See her? I decided to go lower this time so we could see everyone a little bit more. So I guess I'm beyond starting with my huge amount of gratitude. Thank you. I figured, waiting for people to get here and chime in with any questions. Hi, Breedia3. It's my first live stream and live chat, so I'm with you. Welcome. I thought since you guys made the time to show up for this, that I would give you a sneak peek of some things I'm working on that I will be sharing in videos upcoming, but I have finally gotten a chance to work on some things with my hands, and I figured I'd show you. Thank you so much. So my next video is going to be on making PVC perches that look like branches. So let's see if you can see that. So this is just a PVC pipe that I turned into a perch, and I'm going to probably cut this one into two, but it's painted and sealed, and it has these really cool little kind of details in it, and it's surprisingly easy to do. So I thought I'd test it out, and I tested it, and I'm really excited about it. It is PVC. Yep. Welcome, Jen. My husband was just rewatching House of the Dragon earlier today, and we were just talking about it. Yeah, so I'm going to show you guys how I did this, and I think you'll be surprised at how easy it is. And it's really, you don't have to be like super artsy to make them. It's only PVC and a Dremel. As long as you can have a Dremel and grab a cheap heat gun, you can get them for $30 at the hardware store. And PVC is really cheap. Thank you, Geraldine. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate you being here and appreciating that this is more than just about how to keep a snake, how to breed a snake. No, we're here for much more than that, and I really appreciate that you see that. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I'm excited about these. This is a 1/2-inch PVC, and I'm going to be going bigger for. Thank you. That's really sweet. Yeah, do give it a like if you can. That would be awesome. So like this is 1/2-inch, so this would be good for my smaller snakes. But PVC goes all the way up to 1 1/4, 1 1/2. So I did get 1 inch and 1 1/4, and I'll be testing out doing that for Severus because his perch is now kind of small for him. So I'm going to try that out for him and make him a larger one. But for Elora's upgrade and for definitely for Nymeria and my smaller snakes, these are great. And what I did is sealed it with EcoPoly. And once it cures, that is completely non-toxic and cleanable. So you can make these and permanently install them in your enclosures, or you could also make them removable and you can clean them. And they're not going to rot like other branches might, which I think is pretty awesome. They're cheap. I mean, some branches are costing like anywhere from $30 to $60, nice branches. And so, yeah, I think it'll be cool to share how I did this, and I hope it helps everyone. And then the other one I wanted to show you, which I'm really excited about, and this is obviously not the finished product, but it's a preview of my mini bamboo forest for Elora that will be in her upgrade enclosure. So this is also PVC. Actually, it's PEX pipe and painted to look like bamboo. So I'm making her a little bamboo forest because she's a Japanese rat snake and she likes bamboo forests. So that'll be another video as well. So I'll show the whole process. Her enclosure is going to be next level. I'm hoping from Anu's. I'm just going to keep learning and doing new things and trying new things. So yeah. So Cydia is here, right? Yes, you are here. So you had some questions, so I figured that I would answer those. And the first one was a getting to know you question. I love this. So Cydia, am I saying that right, by the way? Okay. So there, the questions came in categories, which I thought was really awesome. So there was a getting to know you, a serious snake, and a silly snake question, which I freaking love that. And I think next live stream should have like that structure for sure. But let's start with the getting to know you one. You are an artist that does some really cool metal work. I was wondering what your most challenging art piece was and what about it made it challenging. Okay, so, oh, did I? Oh, good. I'm glad I pronounced it. I have to share my, oh, it won't let me share beyond, there we go, entire screen. Okay. I will show you. Ooh, wow, that's fun. There you go. Okay. I hope you guys can see this. So this would be one of the most challenging pieces of art I have ever done. It was a water chandelier, metal water chandelier that we hung on the rooftop of a hotel in Las Vegas. And I had to make it in 2.5 weeks. I did not do the original design, but the original design was literally lines. Like there was really not much to the original design. I was hired to fabricate it for people that I was working with, friends of mine, and they just said, take it and run. So I did, and it was a beast. So those are all, it's a steel structure with hammered copper. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I almost killed myself doing it. Hammered copper in the center, and then those are plumbed copper pipes, patinaed to clear acrylic with the water misters, and that's crinkled mesh with patina, and then solid brass with patina and some laser cutting. And we hung that, took all night, and mounted this thing over the pool. And yeah, didn't sleep. It was really insane build. Very challenging for the time that we had. And yes, dragonfly wings, exactly. Yeah, we actually took this idea and kind of expanded upon it at the Do Lab, which is the company I worked for many years, and made these structures that had these wings, and we called them dragonflies later down the line. So anyway, that would be my answer to that. It was very challenging. It wasn't just the time it took, but just I'd never done anything like that on that scale, the complexity, all of it. Fairy wings, yes. I'm all about fairy wings. I've got them on my back, actually. So that's that. No more about me. How about serious snake question? I have a snake that seems to really enjoy rubbing her face against new textures. Do any of your snakes do that? My girl's favorite texture seems to be anything fuzzy, faux fur, dog hair, short human hair, fuzzy blankets. Do any of your snakes show any texture preferences? To be honest, oh, Dee, you remember that. Yeah, of course you do. You didn't remember the drip. Yeah, Derek and I both worked for D-Lab, so he knows what this is all about, and he knows about the dragonflies. As far as the textures go, to be honest, I can't say that I have noticed my snakes preferring textures. I think that's a really fascinating observation, though, about your snakes. And that's something I kind of want to touch on more, is to think about, I want to talk more about observation and how valuable that can be for us as keepers, to really just not just like plug and play, put your enclosure together and you're done and you're good and everything's good because you got it the way that it's supposed to be done. But observing their response. Hello from Ireland, Math Pig. Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Yeah. So, whether observing their behavior and then adapting to them. And I think that's not talked about enough, personally. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe there's people talking about it, but I've not really seen that. I've seen like how to put together the right enclosure for this and that snake and do this and that for this and that snake. But what if that snake doesn't like it or likes something different? And trying new things, and observing how they respond as individuals, just as we are individuals. I think that's really extremely valuable. Does he? Okay. So Jen says Green Room Pythons touches on that. That's good. That's great. I'm glad Bob's doing that. Because I personally haven't really seen much of it. And, just because you have, several ball pythons, that doesn't mean that they're both going to like the same things. And case in point is I have two Colombian rainbow boas that are very different from each other and like very different things. Yeah, the cookie cutter mentality, which it's just, I'm over that. I'm so over that. And that's something that I loved about Logan, the bearded bug guy that I interviewed at the show. He was all about like, this is not plug and play. This is like adapt and change and stuffed donut dog toys in your enclosures. Interesting. Okay, so your corn snakes like them better than the balls. Interesting. Yeah, and who knows? I don't think it's necessarily about species either. I think it's about the individual. And nobody really talks about that a lot. Is, they say, oh yeah, they all have personalities, different personalities, but like down to preferences. And what does that mean for your relationship with them? Giving to them in a way that you're taking the time. Hello, Wild Python Love. That you're taking the time. You're making an effort. Cydia, you're making an effort to notice that they like different textures. That's beautiful. That's awesome. And your animals are going to benefit from that. And I really appreciate that. Personally, as far as textures go, I have not noticed that for my snakes personally. But that doesn't mean that I won't discover something later on, and I'm open to it. But I think the broader topic of observing and putting new things in and seeing what response they have. Do they like it? Do they, for example, with Severus, changing around his enclosure recently. Exactly. It's so much fun to watch her. I love picking up on what she likes and doesn't like. Yeah. Like changing around some of Severus's stuff. He's now changed spots several times now. And I swear to God, he was in the same spot for months, just never came out except, maybe once or twice. And now he's been switching spots since I changed things around. And she doesn't like thunder. Whoa. Did you guys, are you guys, I hope you guys are all seeing this comment because that's fascinating. How could you tell she doesn't like thunder? Were you like holding her? This is Ball Python Love. Were you holding her and she reacted? She balled up, or I'm so curious. That's fascinating. I mean, it's low frequency vibration, so I guess there's also the pressure probably in the air when there's a storm. So there's something to that maybe. But that's really fascinating. Wow. That is so cool. Wow. So she curls up and wow, that's so interesting. Did she do it only when the thunder happened, or like throughout the storm? Okay, gets very alert. That's really fascinating. Wow. Amazing. I love that just when there's thunder, she likes rain. Okay. Interesting. She likes rain. That makes me happy. Oh, that makes me really happy. I love hearing when people say my snake likes such and such, because it means that you're paying attention and you care. And it's still shocking to me how many people, even in this community, don't think like that at all. They still kind of still think of them as other, even though they love the animals for what they are and what they look like, and they're so cool and all that, but they don't think of them as sentient, and that is what that's what we're here for. I think it's one of the things anyway. You took her for a walk today. Aw. So cute. All right, silly snake question. Pick one of your snakes to suddenly become human for the sake of diet and all that. If they were human, what sort of pizza toppings do you think they would order based on their personality? I think I have to say Anu. Oh, there she is. I don't know. Can you guys see her? She's climbing. There she goes. I have to say Anu for sure, because she is, she's just got so much personality. Meat, cheese, and maybe olives. So what, oh God, what pizza? She'd order everything, because she'll eat anything. Like not only is she's a Mexican black king snake, but she's spicy sometimes whenever there's food anywhere. And even if she can go from so chill to, like, if I move my hand a certain way, like, she'll get into food mode. She very rarely rarely bites. But she's charged me a couple times. So yeah, definitely. And I'd want to meet her and have a conversation because she's so smart and so like I just feel like there's so much going on in her little head that I'd love to have a conversation with her. Their hides for cleanup. Any tips? Okay, I'm gonna go to the chat comment here. Breedia3. I've got 3 older ball pythons from breeders. I think they've never been in an actual enclosure. Okay, you made it nice and cluttered, but now I can't get to handle them or get into their hides for cleanup. Okay, so, well, that's a big one. So you just got them from breeders, but they were in, I'm wondering if they were in rack for that whole 5 to 13 years. I guess I need a little more clarification to understand. You got them about 6 weeks ago and they were older snakes and they had never been in an enclosure. Oh, that long. God, that breaks my heart. Yeah. So that's an extreme change for them. Oh, that's so sad. That's such an extreme change. So it's understandable that they're going to be like hiding a lot. Yeah, they barely come out. Yeah, that makes sense. It's gonna take some time. You know, you're doing the right thing with the clutter, I think, and I think you're gonna have to give them as much time as you can to let them adjust, because it's one thing to get, you know, a year-old snake or less that's been in a rack, but years and years, even a decade. Yeah, I was going to say that. So that's exactly what I was going to say, is what Ball Python Love just said. So what I would do is I would take a bin, something like this, or whatever fits inside of your enclosure and that they can fit in, and a little bit bigger, and put a water bowl and like a little bit of enrichment and some substrate and moss, and make it like a rack enclosure tub so that it's very small, and then cut a big hole or cut a hole in, and then put this into the enclosure and have your clutter, and maybe not so much clutter on the ground so you can clean if you need to. And this will be the place that they go that feels like their old home. And then they can explore when they feel safe enough to do so. And they'll probably be doing that at night. So, you know, because they're nocturnal, so you may not see it. You might want to set up some cameras and see what happens. Wise cameras are pretty cheap. They're like $35. And you can mount one in there and see over time if putting them in something like this it might help inside of the enclosure. And this gives them time to say, like, okay, this is what I know. This makes sense to me, but now I can see. And the clutter is good because they'll feel safe enough to explore, but they still have what they know. So that would be my recommendation there. That's heartbreaking. I don't want to force them out, but I can smell poo. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to force them out. If the isopods can't handle cleanup, then unfortunately, choice space is not an option right now. You know, it's not like you're going to be doing this all the time, but you got to weigh the balance. You got to balance out being like cleaning and having it not be, you know, unsanitary. And then The big one is like 6 feet and as big around as my forearm. So, wow. Yeah, I mean, you can get a big bin. I mean, they make all sorts of size bins. It's just got to fit inside your enclosure. So, yeah, that's a really rough one, but that's what I would recommend. Yeah, it's definitely, you're gonna have to. You can't always do choice based, is my opinion. You know. Yeah, big poo is not enough isopods. Yeah, you got to get to it. It's just not sanitary. So, wow. Did I miss anything here? Dissing. Okay, the guy I bought my last snake from was dissing the idea of enclosures. I understand they take time to adjust, but I couldn't keep them in racks for years. Absolutely. No. Anyone who disses enclosures, yeah. Not a fan. This has all been disproved, that snakes like racks. It has all been disproved, and Reptiles and Research is doing it. I mean, he's doing it. He's doing it in the best way possible. He is just fact, study, and he's winning. Like, I think he's changing the game. And that recent video that came out that he did on how he reviewed a ball python breeder who actually started saying that how to put them in enclosures and stuff. It's huge. It's changing the game. So I've got hope now that this idea of the rack system being okay for long term will be phased out a little bit more. I mean, there's always going to be people that do it until we have regulations, right? So that's one major problem, is we don't have any regulation on how to keep snakes. There's that for mammals, but there's not for snakes. So until there is, like in the UK, then, there's always going to be rack breeders because it saves them money. I think those little flies. Yeah, I did hear that. He got flagged for animal abuse for dusting crickets. It's ridiculous. Dude, I love Liam. He is such a badass. I love how no bullshit he is about everything, and he just isn't phased. And he just comes at it with facts and all that. But yeah, that was ridiculous. I can't believe he got flagged. I wonder if do you know he gets death threats all the time? He gets death threats because he's fighting against rack systems and trying to help people understand that ball pythons have emotions and sentience. And he literally gets death threats. So it wouldn't surprise me that if it was somebody from, the world that is hating on him, that like reported his video or something. That would make sense to me. I don't know. But yes, death threats. Absolutely. Yep. Believe it or not. People are horrible. It's really horrible. Yeah, I that's horrible. I mean, his channel is so valuable. But yeah, the internet is a wild place, right? It's kind of terrifying. Yeah. Ball pythons climb. So do hognose snakes, as we've seen. Make it going. This has been really nice. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining Ball Python Love, and I hope your stress level goes down, and I hope you have a beautiful night. Any plans to do a video on coping with the death of a snake? Ooh, yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry you lost your snake. Oh, 17 years. Oh, that's so sad. I'm so sorry, Andy. Yes, I would like to do that. And it's been on my mind. Some of you know from being on Discord, but I haven't announced it, that Hobbs developed a major kink in his neck, and this is new. It just developed, and I don't know what's going to happen with him. And so obviously I'm going to take him to the vet this week and figure it out, but there's no fix. And it may be that he has to be put down at some point. He's only 5, just turning 5. And I've lost other snakes in absolutely horrible situations. So I've been thinking about it. So I will do that. Absolutely. 100%. I will do a video on that. And it may be very real for me. I mean, I could do it on the ones that I've lost before, because I'm extremely traumatized by 2 of them. But yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Andy. My heart goes out to you so much. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Bria. Andy, I don't know if I don't think you've been on Discord, but please do join, because I have to say the folks on there, it's just been beautiful. It is a safe, encouraging, wonderful space that we've created there. People are just so supportive and kind. I've never experienced an online community like it. And if you want to share, we have channels for just silly stuff. We have a channel called Good Feels, for just things that make us feel better. We have advice channels. Thank you, Jake, for that. I appreciate it. And you know, I find it extremely therapeutic and soothing to have this little community, because everyone is just so supportive, and of each other, and they're just going back and forth. So if you want some love and support while you're going through this grief, please come to Discord, and you're going to get loved up. Have you ever thought about making a photo book full of pictures of your snake? That's really nice. That's a great idea. I haven't personally, but I'm planning on getting a photo printer, and I'm going to start printing some photos nice and big, and especially the macro ones. So, oh, wow. Okay, make sure you pick a good vet. I'm almost positive my vet did something. Wow, that's horrible. Well, the vet I'm going to was referred by Bob from Green Room Pythons. So hopefully it's okay, but that's terrifying. Yeah, absolutely. It's like losing a kid. I mean, 20 years with an animal or more. Oh, Anu, where are you? I saw her in the back. Oh, there she is. No, you cannot eat Zenith. Thank you very much. She's eyeing Zenith probably. What's Discord? Discord is a online community space, and you can get an app on your phone as well as your computer, and the link is in the description. And you basically sign up for servers. You get invited to a server, and then there are different channels within that server for different topics. You can direct message people, friend people, all of that, but it's kind of closed space, and it's moderated. So, there's an invite link, and it's not just like YouTube where anyone can be a jerk. And if anyone is a jerk, there are rules and we will boot them. So it's a little bit of a safer space to share, and you can upload pictures and videos and chat back and forth. So, Tammy, thank you for being here. Tammy's my mother-in-law. Hi. I'm so grateful you're here, Tammy. Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, so Bria, I hope you can come on board, because it's actually been really lovely, and I know that there are some people here from Discord, and I think they feel the same. Okay, I'm gonna move on to one more question, unless someone has one in there. Nope. Okay, this is a big one. Ms. Z, are you here, Ms. Z? If not, maybe I'll move on to the next one. I don't know. I didn't see Ms. Z yet. How about Amy? Amy, are you here? Amy, go. Oh, thank you, Mathfig. I really appreciate that. Hopefully more people will, because it's exhausting to do this without getting paid. Not that YouTube payouts are anything much to speak of, but I would just like to be able to reach more people and keep doing this, because it's been so beautiful. And yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, well, so I don't think Amy or Ms. Z are here. So if anyone else has questions they wanted to ask me or comments. Oh, Zenith, where are you going? You're so pretty. I think he's about to go into shed. So fascinating. Zenith, I don't know if you guys saw him when I first got him. He was like dark red, and he is turning like a dark brown now, but his yellows and blacks are staying really, really nice and crisp. I'm really stoked about that. So even though he will continue to get darker, the high yellow is gonna stick around. So, hi, baby. Are you being shy? Yeah. Are you being shy? I'm not pulling him off of this because he just wants to be shy. So there you are, buddy. Ooh, regurgitation. That's no good. How large is Zenith expected to get? He will be about 4 or 5 feet. And kind of like not as thick as a ball python. But he should be about 4 or 5 feet, is my guess. 4 to 5 days after eating. That's not regurgitation. That's actually, that's throwing up, and that's really, really bad. So you need to take it to a vet. So I don't know if you saw my video on feeding. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you, or see your avatar. 4 meals. Oh, no. No, that's very bad. Okay. Hi, Ume. Everyone say hi to Ume. Hi, baby. Okay, so, well, it takes time for them to digest it, but regurg is like right after. And it's even worse if it's been in their body for a while. So basically all those crazy acids that they have in their stomachs that break down hair and skin and bones and all of that comes up into their esophagus, right? So it's very, very, very bad for them. And so first of all, if they do that, do not feed them for another 2 weeks. Don't even try. Just let them be. He finally ate one hopper. Okay. Well, give him a break. I'm not sure how old is the snake? I'm waiting to see how old, because remember that they can go a long time without food, so that it may be best to give them some weeks off, like a month, and take them to the vet. So he didn't eat in about 2 months technically. Right, but he was healing from that, and there's something going on. So, first off, I would check everything in his enclosure, make sure there's not some kind of bacteria, clean it out, disinfect probably. And then, because this has happened multiple times, if it happens again, please take it to the vet. That it is. Yeah. Yeah. He's turning triangular. About a year. Okay. Yeah, I would take him to the vet. But on feeding, do you recommend weekly or fortnightly? For what snake and how old? Because it's not a cookie cutter at all. And if you haven't, definitely check that out. Check that feeding video out. Exactly. Yeah, Seagrave. Exactly. So if they regurgitate and they don't heal from it, they're going to keep doing it, because it's like literally they've burned their esophagus. How long is the longest you've had not eaten? 5 or 6 months. And it wasn't, it was normal. Like that's Helios. That's what he does in the winter. When he reached about 3 or 4 years old, that's basically normal for his species. The males will go off food for half the year sometimes. And that's just what they do. So although in the beginning, BP year old. Okay, so with the ball python, and you can go and, Bob Bledsoe is the expert on ball pythons. But as far as I know, we're talking year old, 10 days is around good time. 10 days, 2 weeks, depending on what their weight is. And you want to be feeding them 10 to 15% of their body weight. And if you don't have a scale, just make sure it's at least as big or a little bit bigger than the thickest part of its body, right? So every 10 days should be good for a yearling. And if you see it getting a little fat or you see it getting a little skinny, then you want to change that up a little bit. And I talk a lot about that in the feeding video, about like being fluid with your snake's diet and varying it. And what do you do, when you see them getting a little heavy or skinny, or what if you don't have the food you want, timing wise, how you gauge that. Baby corn, yeah, they're all different. Exactly. So, yeah, they're all different. So each snake has a different metabolism, different body type. So it's not going to be one size fits all for any snake, and it won't be even one size fits all for one species. You got to kind of work with them. What do they like? What do they not? And vary it up a little bit if you can. It's harder when they're younger, but Rosie Boa twice a week. Yeah, no. As far as I know, feeding twice a week is not really the best, especially for a boa. And hoggies, eat a little more often because they eat smaller meals. Like Elora, I feed her every 5 or 6 days right now, and that's what's recommended for rat snakes of her species. But everybody else, yeah. So 2-year-old bale python, 2 weeks. Yeah, totally. And chicks, exactly. Yeah, vary it up. Maybe file house snakes 5 to 7. Yeah. So, but twice a week is a lot because again, they need to have that digestion process. It's a slow process. They are not humans. They're not mammals. They've got a totally different set of things going on and processes that happen in their bodies. So they need that digestion time, even if they seem hungry. And if they seem hungry, then you need to probably up the size of the food is my recommendation. And I said even in that video that one of Hognose breeder, she's always looking. So feed her 2 pinkies at once, maybe. And this is your ball python? Because, yeah, so one feeding, you can do 2 pinkies at once and then let her go an entire week at least. You could lengthen the time in between if you feed her a larger meal. Remember, it can be bigger, just a bit bigger, even 1.5 times the largest part of their body. So I doubt that 2 pinkies or even a fuzzy is going to harm. Yeah. The rosy. Okay. Yeah. So they'll be fine. They'll be fine. You could do 2 pinkies. Yeah. That makes sense. So yeah, they just need that digestion time. Yeah, it's feeding is tricky, like, I mean, I've been there. I've totally stressed about it before. I've learned in the America units. I've learned to not stress anymore about the feeding, because normally there's a reason that I've figured out, and if not, they eat the next time, and they just weren't hungry, and me stressing about it is not going to help them, right? You just have to figure out, like, okay, making sure that they're comfortable and they'll eat when they're hungry, too small pink. Exactly. Yeah. Cydia. That's what I was saying. Two smaller pinkies and then seven good days, anything that's not a colubrid, that has a higher metabolism, like pythons and boas, they do need longer times in between. Yeah, they might seem always hungry, and if that's the case, then you need to up the size of their food, because they should get satiated. But then again, you know what? Anu will eat anytime, but she's a king snake. She's so cute. I don't know if you guys, my mic's always in the way. I don't know if you can see her little face back there. She's right there. Yeah, don't do that though. Don't offer them food every day. Yeah, they might. First BP went 5 months no food. Now I just chill and they eat way better. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I stopped stressing. I had to just remember that they're not human. They're not. And there's that good anthropomorphism, and then there's the bad, which is us thinking that they're not okay because they don't eat, when these are animals that can go a year without eating and still be fine. Should we eat until she's exploded? Yeah, I think Anu would as well. let's see. I should answer. I want to answer these questions when they're on. Amy and Ms. Z, have you joined? They are good questions regardless. So maybe I'll just go ahead and go for it. Well, that's good. I'm glad the older ones are eating. If venom was out of the question, which venomous snake? If venom was out of the question, which venomous snake would you keep? Oh, if they didn't have any venom. Oh, interesting. Probably a pit viper of some sort. There's so many different, like, incredibly beautiful pit vipers. I just find them absolutely stunning. The shapes of their heads, they look so angry all the time, but yet beautiful and like elegant. And some of them, like the colors are just insane. Yeah, the gaboons are beautiful, terrifying, but beautiful. But yeah, I'd have to say pit viper. I can't say which kind because there's so many of them. And I haven't done enough of my research into venomous snakes to like say pinpoint the exact species, but yeah, derpy and dangerous gaboons. Yeah. Somebody I'm connected with on Instagram just got 2 gaboons, and I'm just like, all right, well, it's nice knowing you. I hope nothing bad happens. Yes, I love watching them yawn and waggle their teeth too. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're going to keep venomous, then you're going to keep venomous. And I don't understand necessarily beyond just being like, okay, they're beautiful. But personally, I just don't understand because you're taking such a crazy risk. I mean, especially with those that could, literally rot your body from the inside out. But yeah, just and most people that keep, not everybody, of course, but most people that keep venomous, I haven't seen too many that are enriching them. I have seen some, which is nice, but it's like, well, why do you have them? Just to show that you can handle venomous snakes? Or it just, I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing, but to each their own, and they're beautiful animals. Yeah, they are. Gaboons are incredible. Is it normal for BP to poop at different times after feeding? Yeah. Yeah. I don't see. You mean multiple times or at different like stages? D. Derek asked, is it normal for BP to poop at different times after feeding? Do you mean like a certain number of days after, or like twice? Because I mean, I've noticed my snakes, it's like not on a regular schedule. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's like 3-ish days after. The last time was over 7 days. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I don't keep ball pythons, but I've noticed sometimes where I'm like, you didn't poop. Where's the poop? And then he eats like Helios eats, and then it's just like poops several days. So maybe it just is like in there. He's a big snake. Took a while to get through that digestive tract, and not worried about it because it was normal poop. So, the regurgitating one never wants to bask, always in the wettest spot. Okay. Well, I mean, I would say that there's something going on with the humidity. Like, obviously, it needs humidity. Have you checked if it's drinking water enough? hydration is, and that's something that I think I started a whole episode and I haven't finished it yet, but hydration is more crucial than humidity, because it is the root of everything, all of their body functions, right? So digestion, lungs, everything in their body depends on being hydrated. So soaking a snake before it sheds or all that, it's not about softening its skin or something. It's about getting it to drink. And so if you find that there's digestive problems, or if it's like always in the humid spot and it's like it's trying to get moisture into its body, which means it could be thirsty. So I have gotten into the habit now. Yeah. Well, daily water changes, that's great. I don't know about water treatment. I don't do it. I have purified water for them. But if you're not seeing him drink, one thing you could do, and what I've gotten in the habit of doing every time my snakes go into shed now, is I take them out, and it is forced handling, but I take them out and I put them in a soak tub with just a little bit of water, just enough to get halfway, halfway up their body. And most of the time, in fact, 99% of the time, they instantly calm. Put something in there for them to grab onto, like a rock or something, so that they can feel safe in the bin, and they'll grab onto it. And then most likely just stick around and watch them and see if they drink. And especially if they're in shed, they probably will, and for a while. And then if there's an issue with the hydration, and that's the reason maybe he's in his humid spot, then, make sure you see him drink. Give it a try, because it has absolutely been a game changer. I mean, my snakes almost always have good sheds, but Zenith here didn't when I first got him, and broke my record. I had all perfect sheds, and he didn't, and he wasn't drinking enough. And so when I did that, it was fine. So yeah, I would give him at least a few days, especially. Yeah, you're right, with the regurg. Maybe give him a week. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's it's really interesting, because everyone's like soaking their snakes, thinking that helps them shed, as if it's osmosis. But there's like, ball pythons have hydrophobic scales, so they don't absorb any. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for chiming in there, Seagrave. The basking spot might be too hot. Also, ball python, maybe he's just not basking when you're seeing him. Maybe it's too hot. It's set at 90. That's the nice spot. Okay. Yeah, that's true. The vet can give fluids. Yeah, temp gun. Yeah, the temp gun's cool. It's a surface temperature, right? Though. So I use temp guns very limited. I use them, but I always use more than one thing. Like, I use an actual hygrometer. Okay, bye, Elle. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you being here. Okay, Bria. Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like you're doing I can't see it. So it sounds like you're doing all the right things. So I want to give you props for that. It sounds like you have. And it may just be that he needs some fluids, and he needs a vet visit, obviously, with the regurg. I mean, something's going on with him. So, yeah. Too many digital. Yeah, me too. I have 2 digital hygrometer thermometers in every enclosure, and I have thermostats, which I'm switching over a lot of things to dimmers. I've thus far had thermostats, but I've started switching over the basking halogens to dimming so that I can kind of dial it in more. But having multiple thermometers and hygrometers is, yeah, that sounds like a breeder is, yep. Yeah, that breeder. Okay. Sounds like they're not doing some great things. I'm just going to finish what I was saying that, you know, even with a thermostat, things can go wrong. Things can turn off. Things can get too hot. So making sure you have those thermometers and hygrometers in place, and everything's still looking good. That's how I do it. Someone just asked a question. Hi, Mel. Do you use LED lights, and is there one in particular you like? Yes, I do use LEDs. I've recently started using grow lights in all my enclosures, and almost all. Hobbs doesn't have one yet, but yes, I do. Barria, I think, is the company. I'll have to put the link out. Barria, something like that. You can get them on Amazon. They make grow lights, and they're not expensive. You can get them ones that link together. So you can make like longer ones. You can buy longer ones or shorter ones. They're great. And honestly, I got kind of the cheaper versions, but they have really made things so much nicer. You can just, I just had the UVB or the one light, and it was really dark in the enclosures. And so the LEDs have really changed things, and they help the plants grow. So I've added more live plants since getting those LEDs in there, and the plants are like really happy, and that makes me happy, and it seems to make the snakes happy. So definitely, yeah. So running them through something, I don't know if you guys have heard of Casa. Casa makes these power strips that you can control each plug on the power strip individually, which is so awesome. And you can set it to, like, you can do an auto setting for sunrise, sunset, or you can control exactly when you want it to turn on and off. Yeah, I couldn't keep them alive either, which is why another reason I was like, okay, I'm and when I put the LEDs in, I was like, oh my God, everything looks so much nicer now. And the plants are happy. It might take like a couple weeks, but the plants will like it better. So what was I saying before that? I keep getting distracted. Oh, Casa. Definitely recommend Casa plugs, because now I have 2 for all these enclosures, and each enclosure has at least 3 or 4 things coming out of it that need to be plugged in. And I want this light to turn on and off at this time, and this one turns on and off at this time, and the heat turns on and off at this, and I can do that now for all of them. So I definitely recommend that. No, it's not UV. It's a full spectrum grow light. So you can get grow lights. What I would say is this with grow lights, and I've heard mixed things. So someone I very much respect told me, and this is Roy from Project Herpetoculture. He told me, and he's going to do a whole lecture on lighting and heating soon, which I'm really excited. But he told me that if I was getting grow lights, make sure not to have the colored ones. So that's what he told me. Now, somebody else who keeps lots and lots of boas and breeds them and has live plants and bioactive, they have Barrier grow lights that have the full spectrum, like I have in my fish tanks, which have, you can dial in the colors a little bit, and it gives it like, it's more controllable, but it has those colored lights. So I went with no colors, because I was erring on the side of caution, because I trust Roy. But these are pretty minimal. I'm actually going to pull one out for you. All right. So I would personally, if I did it again, and I probably will, I would go with maybe one of their wider ones. They have all sorts of different ones, and they can link together. This is just the 1 footer, but they sell 2 footers, 4 footers, and they sell them in packs. And they come with extra. Oh, Helios's light just went off. They come with extra plugs. So you really have a lot to work with. Like if you have many enclosures, you can get a kit. And is it true that snakes can't see the red heating lights? No, they can. That's why you don't want them. Yeah. So that's why I didn't get the colored lights. Everybody's lights are starting to dim. You're going to see them go off pretty soon. Are they 6 feet? Yeah. No, they're pretty cool. I haven't noticed any extra heat. Yeah, well, that's why we don't do the blue and red heat bulbs. Hi, letter ladies. Hi. Yay! Hi. I thought it was him for a second. That's hilarious. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's Barrier. Just look up on Amazon LED grow lights, and this company makes a lot of different types. And I do believe they are 6,500K. They have various types, but that's what I've been using, and they have really made things nice. I really like them. Hi, Scarlett. Oh, yay. Is she watching? Is she here? What's the name of that camera? Which camera? I was talking about the grow lights. I'm not sure what the camera is. Dave, I'm going to make you a video. I was hoping you're going to be on to show you that. I told everybody earlier on that the next video is how to make PVC perches, because you said you like the how-tos and the step-by-steps. The one you told me to watch this. Oh, sorry. Right. Sorry. Wise is the one I have. It's like a little mini security camera. WYZE. She's with her mom visiting. I told her about this stream. Okay. Well, tell her hello from me. Hi, Ume. Did you have a nice walk? Wise I'll put it in the chat. Wise. There you go. Geraldine, dimming thermostats can change the wavelength of the light and change infrared A to infrared B and C, which aren't as good for heating. Okay, so I don't use dimming thermostats. I use just on-off thermostats for my heat elements, my DHPs. But for the halogens, I'm getting dimming halogens and just dialing them down, which is really, it is okay to do that. And I might do that I might just put everything on dimmers as opposed to thermostats, so I can just dial in the correct temperatures. The only issue with that is if your ambient temperatures change, you're going to need to reset everything and make sure it's right. And in my house, this house has no insulation. So I keep things on thermostats because they're my backup of like, if it gets too hot, it will shut off. If it's too cold, it will shut on or turn on. So but I don't have dimming thermostats. There is a difference. Yeah. Did I miss anything? Oh my goodness. Thank you for staying up so late, Mathvig. Thank you so much. Oh, that means a lot to me. Thank you. Bye. Which state am I in? I'm in California. I'm in LA. So it gets very, very hot. Not too cold, but cold enough that it's, too cold for the snakes. So yeah, and our house, it's just such a pain in the ass to keep it regulated. Yeah, AC does complicate things. Yeah, to be honest, it's probably too warm in here for Hobbs. It's really hard to keep him cool. He likes it cooler. And Elora is in my office because she likes it cool. So I keep her there. Zenith hasn't moved. Told ya. I think he might also be going into shed. That's probably why. I was really hoping to have Lauren out. I could take him out, but and then so someone asked me, what do you wish you'd known before getting your first snake? And my answer is everything about snakes. Because I knew fuck all. I didn't know anything. I mean, to be honest, no one should have sold me a snake. But it was 1997 or 98. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm glad. And so at this point, I think we're to the point where everyone should just know how to do some research on what the snake needs. But back then, nobody told me anything. And so as far as what do I wish I'd known before getting Yuja, who is a BCI, I wish I had known that he needed high humidity. I wish I had known not to use those stupid red heat bulbs. I wish I had known how big he could get, and that I was literally told that if I keep him in a smaller enclosure, he won't get so big. I mean, all the stupid things that, yeah, I know, RIP, he was a king. It's true. All the stupid myths I was told and I believed because I didn't know any better. So it's hard for me to answer that question because when I first started keeping snakes, I knew nothing. And but I would say that now you have the opportunity to learn before you get your snake. The name of the lights you is Baria, I think. I'm gonna guess, and I think it's this. But just search on Amazon for something like that, and it'll come up. And they've got a whole store. Yeah, Baria. And that question kind of leads really into Amy's question, best ways to research getting a first snake. And I did touch on this a bit, but she mentioned, about how the amount of info on the internet is just like overwhelming and contradicting. And hi Pixie. And Like it's totally overwhelmed. I mean, one person says this thing, another person says this thing. I mean, I wish I had had any of that when I first started keeping snakes. But you know, it is very overwhelming. So my recommendation is to look at a lot of things, find common threads, right? Hi, Anu. Find common threads, right? So if you're looking at a lot of different sources, yes, reptiles is really good information, and you still got to take it with a grain of salt. I trust her. I trust her more than most. But you know, Amy mentioned that she had issue with some of the some reptile stuff, and there are some things that I'm like, about her stuff too. But I trust her. But I'm also not going to take any one person's opinion and as law. Good night, everybody. It's starting to get darker. No one person knows everything about snakes. So, you know, I would say the best way to research is find as reputable sources as you can, you know, for information about how to keep them, and then do things like I said on the last video, as far as going to, you know, go on iNaturalist and look at their environment, look at ecology, look at papers about them in their natural habitat. What has been observed about these animals. Find some that match those traits. Well, that's about which snake to get, right? As opposed to keeping snakes, right? So I guess I was speaking more to like how to keep them, but as far as what to keep, yeah, I touched on that on the beginner snake rant video. I think, yeah, you look around and you see what speaks to you. You know, when I got back into snakes, I had never had a king snake. Yeah, Google Scholar and iNaturalist. And I watched a bunch of videos, and I just was like fascinated. She's very interested right now. Let's see. I don't want to take you out though, because you're going to try and eat Helios, or Zenith rather. She's like, I could probably fit that baby snake in. She could totally eat Zenith, so she's not coming out. But it is so overwhelming, and it's just really important to look in a lot of places and kind of find a balance. And then, yeah, nice try. Yeah, she would eat him. She would totally eat him. Exactly. Yeah, a mix. Find the balance. That's what life is about, right? I mean, we've got to find the balance. And then the other part of it is, once you have the snake, goes back to what I was saying early on, is observation and empathy and compassion and sensitivity to this animal, and watching what works and what doesn't, because one thing will work for one and the other will not. So, you know, when I got Nymeria and Galadriel, they have the same dad. They were born a month apart, same breed, same species rather, and Nymeria was like thriving, climbing all over the place. Absolutely right. Natural history of a reptile and where in the world they're from. But I was just gonna say, like, Nymeria was like so bold, climbing all over the place, ate everything I offered her. Galadriel didn't want to climb, hid all the time. So once you have a snake, just because somebody tells you that this is what is good for them doesn't mean it is. You you have to be fluid and adapt, right, to them. And I think that you probably all are. You are obviously people that are tapped into what your snakes need and how they respond to things, and that's really special, because I think it doesn't happen as much as I hoped. I hope that it does. But yeah, observation, which means I should probably observe. No, it's still doing nothing. Oh, mosquitoes. Oh, yeah. Wow. We've been going an hour and a half. That's incredible. Thought no one was going to show up. Tubs can work with a lot of enrichment. Yeah. So there's one guy, I can't remember off the top of my head what his Instagram handle is. But he does enriched tubs that are like awesome lighting and heating and enrichment and all of this stuff. And they're just temporary. They're not permanent, which is what I like about them also. They're just transitions for growing into their bigger enclosures. But just because they're in a tub doesn't mean it can't be enriched and have lighting. That was awesome. I was like, right on, dude. I actually shared it. He's like, if you're gonna do it this way. Thank you. Yeah. Am I boring everybody yet? I don't want to keep blabbing away if people don't have any more questions. Or I could show you. Yeah, I have a few of those. They're great. I can show you something fun. So not boring? Good. Okay. So I made one of these. I've made two of them now for her. Her handle is Girly Girl Snakes on Instagram. And so she sent me, first one was a Blue Baron, which I don't have, of course. She has all the snakes that I don't, which is why I was really excited to make them. And this one, which is a Western black tree snake. One of the coolest sheds I've ever seen. I'm going to have to follow up with you, Mel. I'd have to look at my Instagram. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. Oh, good. You just made an emergency tub. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, this, such a rad shed, right? It smelled like maple syrup. I swear to God. I don't know why, but exactly like maple syrup, this shed. So what was awesome was that I loved getting these sheds from snakes that I don't keep, because they're so different. Each one of them is so different. Yeah, totally. Exactly like maple syrup. She was like, smell it when you get it. I was like, what? And it did. She said another one of hers smells like peanut butter. But anyway, the point of this story is she sent me more from all of her, like a bunch of her snakes, and they're all snakes that I don't keep. Just sent them to me. Didn't order another bracelet. I made her two already. So, how did I make that? Go watch the video. There's a whole video. There's actually two videos. I can show you. But yeah, so Blue Beauty, very exciting. So black-tailed Celebes, black-tailed rat snake, Blue Baron again, which it doesn't seem like it would be but this shed is beautiful against metal. I don't know why, but the way that, well, it's super iridescent, but the pattern of the scales, I don't know why. Oh, it's here. There it is. Okay. So they're just so round at a certain point, like not up here, but here. And they're just so perfectly even and like they're just very, I don't know, aesthetically pleasing to me. And so she just sent me all of these. Doing the next, yeah, the 13-year-old has huge, that's awesome. Yeah, you should make stuff with your shit. So then what else do we get? Corn snake, which I don't keep, and a blue mangrove, which I definitely don't keep. So I got a venomous shed. Yay! Right? Blue mangroves are venomous. Pretty sure. Yeah, they are. Thank you. Thank you, Geraldine. I really appreciate that. Oh my God, a baby. So cool. So, and you know, at the reptile show, I had a bunch of people just come. I had several people come and just give me sheds, which was so sweet. I know it's so tiny. It's a baby. She just got this one. I'm curious. I have a question for you guys. If you think, I've been wanting to kind of make a video about this, but I'm gonna get I feel like I'm gonna get eviscerated if I do it. But I just kind of want to talk about it. Is wild caught snakes and thoughts about that. Yeah, rear fang venomous. That's what I thought. And I was curious if that was something that you guys had any interest in hearing discussed and what your thoughts were. So I don't know, just something that's been on my mind when I see all these people. Did I miss one? No. All these people talking about their wild caught snakes. And I say this because some of these are wild caught. She has two. This one is wild caught. And I have some issues with it. And it also tends to be sad stories of people saying their snakes died. You guys, Hobbs is out. Oh, buddy. In case anyone didn't hear at the beginning of the podcast or at the beginning of the stream, Hobbs has a kink in his neck that I just discovered. So I will not be taking him out, but it's really nice to see him out of his hide right now. He's been coming out in the evenings. And even with the kink, it's strange because he's been looking healthier than he ever has. But yeah, it's Tara Humara. Well, caught should be left. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so that's the thing is I get importing wild when it's necessary because gene pools are going to run low, right? Like we have to put new genes in the gene pool. Otherwise, the inbreeding is getting too much, right? If we're going to do the captive breeding. But importing and saying it's for conservation when you're not doing any conservation, you're just breeding snakes to sell them. Thank you, Geraldine. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I do too. He took a meal the other day, so that's good. As long as he's eating, that's definitely good. But yeah, so like people say, oh, it's for conservation to get them out of the wild. And that's, to be honest, I think it's bullshit for the most part. Because conservation is an active thing. That's something you're doing, where preservation is difficult. Sorry, I'm having trouble reading that. There's like a heart in the way. It's difficult. It's different than, yes, preservation is different than conservation. But that's what USARC says, conservation. It's not conservation. Conservation is going out and actually repopulating scientifically and like methodically doing that, repopulating in the wild. We are not conserving by keeping. We are keeping for ourselves. And that is something that really, really bothers me. And it really bothers me that we put these animals through the trauma of going through the import process, and that most of the time they are so traumatized that they are defensive as hell, and everybody's like, oh yeah, they're all defensive snakes. Wonder why. And they've got parasites. They die from the whole process. I mean, think about what they have to go through, right? And then they're like, people are like, oh, my snake died, and then they get another one. And yeah, so there's also like an Eastern Indigo program that does this, because Eastern Indigos are endangered. And so they breed them, and they like meticulously study the environment, and they repopulate. That's what conservation looks like. Importing them to sell them and get some new blood, that's not conservation. Is it good for the hobby? In a limited way, yes. But not when I go to a reptile show and the booth diagonal from me had like, I don't know, Jake, how many? 200 snakes? There looks like there were so many snakes. At that booth. They were all wild caught. I know they were. And it's just, we got to put our money where our hearts are here, and like not buy those snakes. I don't know. The import business, Amy Benzie knows all about this. It's really, yeah. So it's like, you can't say it's for conservation if you're taking endangered snakes out of their habitat, right? And I'm like, the other part is just, why? Like, leave it. There are so many snakes being bred right now. Too many snakes in the hobby available for purchase that don't have homes. And we need to go and take these animals from their homes. Like, why? I can't justify it for personal gain. Like, I just don't like it at all. I think it's a problem. And I especially think it's a problem when people justify it by using the word conservation. And so, yeah, they didn't know if it was wild caught. They were selling it and they didn't know. Yeah, if they 98%. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah, exactly. There are too many. I mean, I hate to say it, but when I leave a reptile show and I see how many snakes are left over, especially the ball pythons, I don't really like thinking what's going to happen to them, because there are breeders that will cull what doesn't sell. Yeah, it's true. They only think about the money, and they're not thinking about the animals. But it's fascinating how convinced people are of that this is for conservation, etc. And it just, they're like, I mean, US ARC, they support breeders that are not ethical. And it's why I'm no longer going to be supporting US ARC. That's one of the reasons anyway. So yeah, I want to make a video about this, but I'm also kind of scared, and I imagine you guys could understand why I might be scared. Yeah, of course she never sees it. Someone asked me recently, they asked me at the show, actually, I really want a sunbeam snake for my first snake. And I said, only if you want to never see it. This like doesn't want to ever come out. But anyway, I was wondering, like, you guys can understand why I'm a little hesitant to make a video like that because of how controversial it is. And because I am a new channel. And what the fuck do I know is probably one of the things that's going to come back to me. You know, I'm fine just saying, look, this is my opinion, and it's just something to think about. Yeah, but they can find other jobs. To be honest, I mean, that's just not a good enough excuse. I don't agree. Yeah, it is so controversial. So for me, as like a new channel, it's, well, oh, that's really sweet. Jen, thank you. I want to try. And I may just have to like limit, like do heavy moderation on the comments. Oh yeah, that one I will do for sure, Dee. Yeah, I know. I was trying to do that for you specifically, and things got so crazy. And I couldn't get the video done, but I will do that. I got backlash because I didn't release the rat snake. So, okay. Someone I follow on Instagram. I appreciate him. He's a good person. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate that a lot, actually. I feel like, what else am I doing this for, right? Like, I'm not here for fame. I'm really not. I don't do this for the money. There's no money. I'm here because I'm passionate and believe that there's some things that really need to be talked about, that are extremely important, that are not getting enough attention. And so, as scared as I am, I feel it's important to bring these things up. And if people can do what they're going to do online, they're always going to be that way. But I really appreciate you guys supporting that idea, because I think that it's important. We should talk about it. And oh, thanks, Mom. Yeah, I'm gonna try. And oh no, I've heard that argument before. I get it, but they will catch animals as hunters because that's their thing. There are other ways they can sell them. All I'm saying is, if we can reduce the amount, the demand is what is feeding the cycle of the wild caught, right? But then there's examples for, like, with people catching snakes. and they say they rescue the snake. And you grew attached. Exactly. Right. You know, somebody I follow on Instagram, he's a great person. I support him, but he, you know, he does like snake relocation when people are about to kill a snake. They're like, get this thing out of my yard or I'll shovel it. And so he'll relocate it. And that's something we should talk about at some point too. But he decided to keep these 2 snakes, coach whips, and they're beautiful. Of course, coach whips they're pink. They're amazing. They're gorgeous. But these are feisty snakes. They are big. They are fast. They need room. They need a lot of activity, and the idea that he was just like, yeah, I just wanted to keep them. It's not enough for me. It's not enough. It's one thing if they were born into it, but these are mature animals that have a home where they can slither all over the place, and their coach whips are fast. You know, they need to move a lot. They hunt, and they've been doing that for years. So why do you need to keep them? Why can't you just let them go? I don't agree with it. You know, I understand you get attached to things. I got attached to my bunny that I rescued, but literally he was dying, and he was a domestic rabbit that had been injured and escaped a bad situation, and I was going to find a home for him, and I fell in love. That's different. He's not a wild animal. So yeah, I think we need to talk about it. Right? Education and knowledge can help. Yeah, and that's what Amy does. Amy and Bob did that when they went out to go. They bought up all the snakes from the hunters, and they took them somewhere else and let them go. And those hunters were good people. You know, they talked about that. They talked about this is how they feed their families, and I get that, but it's not the only way. And there are other ways to make money off of hunting. How long after healing wounds? As long as it's healed, there's no infection, should be fine. I don't know. It depends on the wound, I imagine. I convinced someone recently to let a wild caught snake go that they had caught, and they were under the impression that if they caught it, they're not allowed to release it. Like, it'll kill it to release it, even if it's in the same place. I don't know where they got that into their head, but and when I helped educate him a bit, he had grown very attached to it, but he eventually did let him go, and he felt good about it. That made me happy. Yeah, I would just make sure that the wound is like there's no open wound, and that it's completely healed, and then should be fine. But the genetic thing, well, yeah, I mean, you need new genes, right? You can't keep breeding the same over and over and over again. At some point in the hobby, you have to get some new genes in the gene pool. Otherwise, this is where all those genetic mutations come from that cause health problems. Hi, you're back. So yes, you do need new genes. So at some point, you have to get a wild caught or a few wild caught. That's different than continuously importing and selling them to people, and not even really talking about how they're wild caught at shows. 3 months. I mean, I don't see why not. I don't see why not. He knows how to hunt. What I would say is release him exactly where you found him, because I didn't even realize this until recently. The relocation area, especially for rattlesnakes too, is actually very small. They have a home territory. And if you take them too much further out of that home territory, they will most likely die because they don't know where they are. So if you're going to do it, yeah, that's a good idea. Spectacular solution. Wildlife tourism. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so if you guys are ever relocating snakes, especially rattlesnakes, 1 mile radius. People just need to learn how to get along with snakes. That's kind of like my conclusion there is like when you go save a snake from somebody who wants to kill it, you say to them that it's probably going to come back. And this is just how it lives. And this is how you make sure you don't get hurt. And how you live cohesively together without hurting him, and you don't get hurt, because taking them beyond a mile is almost always a death sentence for rattlesnakes. And I assume there's some other snakes that go further, but specifically with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, ugh. Oh, the ignorance. Yeah, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I don't know if you saw the recent comment on that really sweet post of me offering my hand to Alora after she got hurt and scared. And it said, POV, your baby snake forgives you after you scare it. And someone commented, nothing that an axe won't fix. And it's just sad, it's just, people are so ignorant. Education is the key. It's just getting people to listen, and it's possible. And I'm glad it was a civil argument, Jen. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's completely awful. And I don't know if you saw my response. Good night. But I just said I basically said I'm really sorry for you. No, they don't. They don't know what snakes do for us, and so we just need to keep talking about it. And yeah, I don't feed into it, those comments, as I try and just say, I'm sorry that you don't understand, and but that's just so cruel that I was just like, it sounds like you're really in pain, and I'm sorry that you would make such a cruel comment. And they re-upped and said something to the effect of, no, you're stupid because you think it has feelings. And I said, okay, we're done. I'm really sorry that you're hurting so badly that you would say something so horrible, but you need to stop now, or I'm going to have to remove you. But I hope you feel better. And their cold blood has nothing to do with it. Wonderful. Yes, exactly, Letter Lady Z. You're not going to get everyone to love snakes. Exactly. Yeah, you guys are having you're not going to get everyone to love snakes. And I've had to accept this, and I'm fine with it. What I will not let go of is having people understand their part in this world and that they deserve to be in this world just as much as anyone. In fact, more than a lot of people sometimes think. But yeah, I mean, if we educate them about, their place and their importance, and remind them that they are no different than their cat or their dog as far as who they are. She wants me to tell you she has anxiety and ADHD, but snakes help. Awesome. Thanks for letting me know, and I agree. She is obsessed with snakes. That's so awesome. I'm so glad. I'm terrified of spiders too, and I can appreciate them. I'm actually not terrified. I don't like certain kinds of spiders. I don't kill them though. Ever. Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that, what they do. I mean, the only thing they kill is mosquitoes and fruit flies. And I feel bad about it even when I do it, except they eat me. And the fruit flies carry disease in the snake enclosure, so I got to get rid of those. But spiders eat them, so yeah. We all just need to understand that humans are not the center of the universe, and that we can't live without these other animals. And ticks. Oh yeah. Yeah, ticks. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, Zenith, you are so chill. Yeah, you're definitely going to go into shed any moment. Okay. He's just been chilling. Hey, buddy, you're going to have to come off at some point. We're probably almost done. Anu, don't get any ideas. I see that face. She's looking at him like he is a meal. You can't have him on your pizza. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, exactly, Mel. Nobody has to love snakes, but they have to respect them. Everything deserves respect. I could not have said that better. Naming spiders I find around the house. That's really cute. Anu, no, not snake pizza. Yeah, no, she's seriously sitting there above her water bowl, just doing this. Looking at him like he's a snack. No, you can't. Zenith, you're going to have to come off eventually, baby, to go back in. We play this game where he'll tuck his little head in and I have to turn it around, and then he tucks his head in the other way. Come on, baby. I know. I'm missing more. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. You're in there good, huh? Come on out. Oh, don't go under there. Oh, are you shy? Yeah. Sorry, guys. I think it's about time. Oh, well, I might just have to put that in his enclosure and let him come out on his own. Snake pizza. He's feeling shy because I took him out, and then I was like, oh, you look like you're going into blue a little bit. So we'll have to see. How do you all feel about rats? I don't have any problem with rats, like as animals. The infestation of rats, like in New York and big cities, is a problem, but it's caused by humans. So I don't have a problem with the animals themselves. They're just trying to live. I don't have any. you know? Rats are pretty smart too. Oh, pets. Yeah. I don't have a problem with rats as pets. I mean, the only sad thing is they only live for a few years, and you get really like people get really attached to them. And that's sad. Like, it's hard enough to have mammals that don't live that long, other mammals like dogs and stuff, but okay, I've got a sunbeam coming across my face now. Cockroaches get a bad rap. I don't like cockroaches. Hobbs, I'm so happy you came out. Oh, poor baby. Well, so guys, it has been 2 hours, and I think I need to wrap this up and go have a dinner with my husband and give him some love. But I wanted to thank all of you, everybody, for being here. I can't tell you how much it means to me. Honestly, I didn't know if anyone was going to really show up. So I know I can't believe 2 hours went by, but my lips are very dry. So that's telling me that yes, 2 hours have gone by. Thank you so much, all of you. I hope you do this again. Well, I am definitely going to, because this was really fun. And yeah, I love the feedback. This is amazing. So let's do this again. And I think we have a lot to talk about. And thank you for helping give me feedback on stuff, because you know, I'm kind of in my own little bubble sometimes. So I am very grateful for all of you. And for those of you not on Discord, definitely go check it out, because it's really fun there. It's really, really sweet. And I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, Aaron? Yeah, Aaron was supposed to be here. Anyway, I hope you guys all have a wonderful night, and I will see you very soon. Bye. Yeah, Discord link is in the description. Thank you. Appreciate it. Give the video a like and a share if you get a chance. Thanks, everyone.